So this is our frost-free spigot in the barn. I did a video on installing this last year where I ran some piping underground here below 42 inches and came to the bottom and installed this. Now this is one of the cheaper hydrants. These are the ones that are available at TSC. I would have really preferred one of the Iowa. They're American made. They're really good, but they're harder to find. They're a lot more expensive also, but these ones have been pretty decent for us. And so I just wanted to go through a couple of common things that people have problems with these, and we're also going to address an issue that I have very specifically here with ours, where our water line freezes where it's coming out of the house. So I'm going to deal with that temporarily for this year, and I'll show you how that how that was done. It never ceases to amaze me, some of the things that were done by previous owners and things like that. But we'll take a look at that here in a minute as well. But let's take a look at this frost-free hydrant and play with it a little bit and see some of the adjustments that you can make and a couple of the common problems that people run into. All right, so in order to understand, the frost-free spigots and how they work, I have one of the poles of one, or the tubes that goes down into the ground. This is on one that I actually found here when we moved in. But you have a couple parts. This is at the bottom, so this is what is buried underground, and then this is the top part that your hydrant it would be connected to. And you'll see this this rod in here. This is what your handle is hooked to. So this pulls up and down as you pull the handle on the hydrant. Now down here at the bottom, there's a couple things. So you can kind of see inside here, this is where your water comes in, and there's a little rubber piece in there that presses down on that the metal and seals this off. So that's how you turn the water off. When you put the handle down, it presses that rubber up against that spot right there, and it shuts the incoming water off. And then down here at the bottom, you can see on the side we have what's called a weep hole. And what happens is that valve actually shuts the incoming water off right down here, and then it leaves this weep hole open to the upper pipe. So all the water that's in this pipe, all the way up to the top of the hydrant, can then drain out through this weep hole. So when these are installed, you generally pack a bunch of gravel around here. A friend of mine gave me a tip. You can bury like a pop bottle around this and then put gravel inside of it and put gravel all around it. So you just always make sure that this weep hole has, a drainage place for that water to go and drain into the ground. Now this part right here is buried well below the frost line. So you're at 42 inches or below, which never freezes throughout the wintertime. And so even though the top of your hydrant might be well below freezing, where the water is would never freeze. And so that's how this thing works. So let's take a look at the top half of it over here on our working hydrant and take a look at a few of the common issues you can have and how to test and make sure that yours is working properly. All right, so you can see as we open this here, it's going to pull this center shaft up. That opens our valve down below the ground there, allows the water to come out. And then as we close it, that will seat down and shuts the water off. So let me show you how to make sure that the weep valve is working. So we're going to run some water here. And turn the water off. Now I'm going to put my hand on the bottom and just hold it there. I think you can hear this. Hear that suction? Okay, that's telling me that it's creating a suction, so that water is flowing back down and out that weep valve. If you put your hand on here and you don't feel any suction, nothing's happening. That means that water is staying up in your pipe, and it's going to freeze and crack this thing open and wreck everything. So you want to make sure that in that case, unfortunately, you have to probably dig to the bottom of this and see what's clogging that weep hole. Make sure you pack a lot of gravel around it. And again, I did an installation video on this if you want to see what that looks like. The other thing that commonly happens with these is they'll leak. So if it's dripping, maybe you've got a constant kind of drip going on, I'll show you how to adjust the plunger to make sure that that is seating firmly on that bottom half of that metal there, so it shuts the water off all the way. So I'm going to spin you around to the other side of this where there's an adjustment screw. All right, so right on the side of this here, there's a little set screw, and you can see this rod right here that's attached to the plunger down at the bottom of the tube. It actually goes up through a piece on the other side that you can't see. But what this does is this attaches the handle to this rod, this connecting rod. And so you can actually adjust this. And so if you're leaking, you actually need that rod to be pushed down harder on the plunger needs to be pushed down harder on that valve at the bottom. So what you want to do is loosen this up. You're going to open your handle up. It'll slide this piece up on the rod a little bit. Then you tighten this screw down tight on that rod again, and then you're going to force it back closed. That will force the rod down just a little bit further than it was before. And then you'll let it sit, and you'll see you should have no dripping at that point. If you still have some dripping, you need to loosen it again, open your handle up, tighten that screw down again, and then force your handle down. Now you don't want to do it too much. If you're forcing your handle down too far, too hard, then you're going to end up distorting the rubber plunger at the bottom. But just do a little bit at a time until you close it, and then you have no dripping. And then you'll want to, of course, test your suction on there, make sure that your weep valve is working, and then you should be good to go. That's really all there is to these frost-free spigots or frost-free hydrants. There's really no other adjustments to them. Now, if you have one of the really nice Iowa ones that are the big iron, usually they're red. Those ones are made in the USA. They're really nice. Those have a couple other adjustments on them, and you can mess around with those. You can probably look up more information on those particular online, but most of your hydrants are like this. They're pretty simple. There's only just one or two things you can do to it. And so as long as the weep hole is working, and as long as it shuts off and does not drip, obviously if that valve doesn't seat down there and you're getting it's dripping, then that means the weep valve is there, is not working. There's always going to be water in your pipe. So you have to make sure that valve seats properly and it shuts all the water off so that this whole pipe can drain out underneath the ground, and so nothing freezes. I can't tell you how important it is to have this thing and how nice it's been to have this thing out here at the barn. With the number of animals that we have, there's just no way I can carry buckets of water back and forth from the house out here. It's just a must. I'll be installing a couple more of these on our property probably in the spring and summer next year. For right now, this is the only one that I have out towards the greenhouse and barn area. Unfortunately, this one was installed incorrectly at the house where the water pipe comes out of the house, and so let me show you what I got to deal with up there and how we're gonna run a temporary fix on that to hopefully get us through the winter this year. Okay, so here's the main problem amongst several problems of the installation here of not only the generator gas line, which is a complete disaster, but all of these water lines. So what I have here, and this was not installed by me, but what I have here, that little hose coming out, that's a discharge for the water softener. That's fine to be there, I don't mind that. The two white lines are run underground, and they go all the way out to the outdoor wood boiler, which has been disconnected. I actually cut those lines down there, you can see, and drained this all out because we're not going to be using it this year. And then we have this black irrigation tubing. This is the water line that goes underground out to our barn. Now, this has never frozen in the past 2 years we've lived here because it was running with these uninsulated boiler lines. It was running 180-degree water back and forth through the ground here, so it always kept this thawed out. But now that I've discontinued using that, as soon as it gets obviously below 30, maybe 32, 30 degrees, something right around there, this section of pipe freezes right up overnight, and then I can't get any water in the morning. So what a disaster. Look at the gas line job. That's something. So in order to fix this, I'm going to cut the one of the boiler lines out of the way here, and then I'm going to run a heat tape just wrapped around this thing. We'll dig it down a couple feet in the ground, and I've got a pretty long, I think I have a 48-inch heat tape I can just wrap around this and plug it on in the inside of the house there, and we'll seal up that hole, and hopefully that'll keep this thawed out for the year. hopefully we'll solve that issue. I gotta plug it in inside. I've got a little utility area on the other side of the wall here. And I'll get some of that spray foam and we'll fill in that gap. I'll pull that other pipe out as well and spray that in with some spray foam. So that'll solve that issue hopefully for now. But, this just opens up a whole new can of worms. This corner has been a drag for me. The backup generator here was installed. Basically, it's still in the shipping pallet. They just unboxed it and ran a bunch of lines. They're not even buried. I mean, this is just, I don't even, what is this? It's like three appliance connectors connected together. I don't even. So this generator will get moved over to the side here. We'll get a gas pipe right into the propane line right there. We'll get rid of all these flex connectors. We'll bury all the lines properly. I'll dig this all back up probably and put an actual 90 elbow on that and go straight down into the ground. And we'll get this all fixed up. But what a mess. There's always projects to do here. You know, that's one of the things I tell people. We moved out to this farm, 25 acres from a little lot in a subdivision, and we paid, you know, about what we sold the house for in the subdivision is about what we paid for this property here. But there's always a give and a take. This house is much smaller than the old house we had, and there's just a lot of things that need to be fixed on it. There's a lot of just messes, utility-wise, and all kinds of things that just need to be fixed. So over time, you know, little by little, we renovate a room, we fix a problem. Every year, we fix something and make this house a little bit better and better and better. So this is one of those things that just really needs to be fixed and done right. And I can't wait to just tear this whole corner of the house apart and just redo everything. So it drives me crazy. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today. Hopefully you found something useful. If you're having trouble with one of the frost-free spigots or hydrants there, hopefully that'll help you solve some problems or maybe install one and get ready. Man, are those things handy. I'd love to have one in every pasture here. We need to put one in a greenhouse and one back by the pumpkin patch, and we're just gonna I need to get a trencher and just go crazy out here and dig some water lines. But by far the number one difficulty in the wintertime is dealing with frozen water. So hopefully this will help me out here at least, so I don't have to carry buckets from the house. But don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, guys. Makes a big difference for me. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a good one.